Hello, everyone, and welcome to Snap Take. This is Glazer of Snap Judgments, the official podcast of Marvel Snap Zone. We've got 3 incredible decks for you. We hosted a quiet, secret tournament over on our Discord, and we've got the winners, the top 2 decks from that, and Zunz is back. Zunz has climbed from like 300 to top 15 with a deck that was just revealed. We're going to talk about all those decks and more today. Before we do, though, I want to let you know that April 27th and 28th, that's right, coming up in just 2 weekends, we are hosting the Snap Grand Prix. That is in conjunction with Pursuit Gaming, with over $300 in prize money. It is completely free to enter. You can the first day, April 27th, will be a Swiss day 1 with a single elimination cut for day 2. This is hosted by Gunny T, me, myself, Pulse Glazer, the Pirate King Tucker, Zalsnap, and of course, Pursuit Gaming. If you'd like more info, in the description to this and every video is the Snap Judgments League Discord. Join that Discord. This is completely free to join. This is going to be a huge tournament. Make sure you check it out. Our first deck is the deck that finished number 2 in our secret tournament. This is from Black Dama, who had an older version of this. That was basically the deck he used to hit Infinite every season. We featured it on the channel. It was rebuilt with Red Hulk, with the new Alioth in mind, and has thus far been completely freaking dominant. You can check Twitter. People are hitting Infinite with this left and right, and then Tucker took it to the tournament and finished in 2nd place with it. This deck works. It is legitimate. It is really, really hard to beat. You can find Tucker on twitch.tv/Tucker. Help our homie out. He is full-time. And you can find Black Dama on Twitter with the B as a 6. So Red Hulk, Alioth, and Galactus are musts. Unfortunately, those are expensive cards, but you need it. You also need Nico. Nico is the secret sauce that makes this really work. She is a snap condition with 2 specific spells we'll talk about next slide. And Jeff and Nebula can be Nightcrawler and Green Goblin without losing too much there. All right, so this was, again, number 2 in the secret tournament and is dominating right now. Try it out. You will be shocked at how well this works. You know how I know that? Because I played this and I was shocked at how well this worked. So turn 1, you drop Nebula. Turn 2 is meant to be Nico. You want Nico to be Destroy or Demon for Electro if possible. That's when you're playing Nico. If you go Nico on 1, if you have Destroy or Demon, I would not play anything on turn 2 to get that on Electro for turn 3, because having that extra energy with no downside on from turn 3 on is stellar. That basically lets you play the earlier cards. So that's going to, if you don't have that Nico thing, though, you just go Daredevil as a priority, and then if not, Jeff is perfectly fine. Nebula is also fine here, but not amazing. So you've got that Electro or Wave on turn 3, or you can play one of the turn 2 plays just fine. Then you go turn 4. If you played Electro, you're looking for Professor X or Hobgoblin. If you played Wave, you're looking for Red Hulk or Galactus. If not, feel free to drop 2 2s, and then Wave is perfectly fine on turn 4 as well. Turn 5, you can drop... so is Nico and Electro, just for the record. Turn 5, you would like to Galactus, Red Hulk, Professor X, or Hobgoblin, obviously depending on the board. And turn 6 is Alioth, Shang, or Red Hulk. It's really straightforward to play this. It's incredibly powerful. If you have not played Alioth, with a totally different Alioth deck, I'll find time to feature sometime soon. I'm like 28 and 8 or something silly. New Alioth is really, really good. Don't sleep on him because he's different. It's very powerful. Also, like, there's a lot of combo stuff going on around, right? So if you can win a lane with Professor X-like card and get priority, then your Alioth is, you've got a 50-50 on hitting that Hela and auto-winning that game. You can just drop a Red Hulk in a lane that you've already got a Hobgoblin in to steal another lane. Ways like that are just ways to absolutely dominate with this deck. It's so good right now. Please hit that like and sub button. If you're willing to, leave a comment. All of these things help us with the YouTube algorithm, which we're in a constant fight with. We finally beat that algorithm to get to 10,000. We don't want to stop there. We're aiming for, let's go 11, let's go 15, let's go 20. But the only way to get there is for you to help us. Help us by subbing. And if you're already subbed, please do us the favor of letting the video play out. The longer you watch the video, the more people it ends up shared with. 1-star Snorlax asks about Chi killing all cards in lane with 10 or more power, and I don't like it. There has to be a way to play small ball in Marvel Snap, and Shang-Chi is your way of doing that. They already nerfed Shang-Chi when they nerfed Zabu, and that changed the fundamental play patterns of Shang-Chi right now, so I think that's good enough as our change for Shang at the moment. Lol wonders why Mobius isn't killing Mr. Negative. Mr. Negative is everywhere right now. If you missed it, we covered the Mr. Negative deck that's being discussed yesterday. That's the Tribunal list, a different Mr. Negative list, just played by Woody. That one's closer to the BBAK deck we featured here a few times. Just hit number 2 on the Infinite Leaderboard. Why is Mobius killing Negative? Well, a couple of reasons. One, people aren't running Mobius as much anymore, right? If they see Mobius, they run for 1. It's not hard to run for 1, right? Like, a lot of the best players run for 1 a fair amount. They're trying to win more and then lose by running for 1. So if you see Mobius, you run for 1. If you don't get hit with that Mobius, though, you just go so far over the top in beating the opponent that there's nothing they can do. Now, that usually means a bunch of extra cubes because you're showing so little power earlier. A lot of players get stubborn and insist on staying in on the chance they win, and thus the cube rate of Negative is so high. Verker wants to know how I'm feeling after my surgery. I had my appendix out, and anyone who missed it literally a week ago as of you watching this video. I feel significantly better. There's still times I feel like crap. Earlier this morning I felt like absolute death. But right now I'm feeling real good. Improving, healing is good. I'm planning on being home 1 more week and then going back to work the week after. So, expect to spend a lot of time with me for the next week. Like I could possibly do more videos. If you'd like your questions read out in Wednesday's video, tomorrow we cover Red Guardian. In Wednesday's video, leave one in the comments. All right, Gnome Plays won the tournament with this deck he called Rock and Rolk. It's fantastic. It is 3 different decks in one, and they work together brilliantly. We knew from when darkhawk was a 4-cost that it worked with the Annihilus Bounce package, so those 2 are again combined here. And then you've got Red Hulk because it's big and you just want to have something big. There's 10 million play lines for this deck that all somehow work together. The bounce stuff likes Hood, the bounce stuff likes darkhawk, the Annihilus stuff works with the Hood and the bounce because now you've got extra things. It's just really, really great to play this deck. It feels so good, and Hope really, really ties the room together. This is just expensive. If you can afford it, great. You've got Red Hulk, Hope, Darkhawk, Annihilus, and Kitty, so that's 5 high series cards, although Kitty and Darkhawk are at least series 4, and then the other 3 are series 5, and 1 you could have bought. So, okay. Hope can be Elsa or Armor. Everything else is a combo but Red Hulk. And I think at this point, I'm comfortable saying just get Red Hulk. I'm going to start bothering internally to see if I can get an answer on if Red Hulk is on the chopping block or not. If you can start asking Glenn publicly, maybe he'll reveal something so we can give a better recommendation. But right now, Red Hulk is in all 3 of these decks. Red Hulk is in like every freaking deck right now. It is just too big and powerful to not run right now. And I think it is basically a must-have, at least unless they nerf it in a week, right? There's no way to know that. Again, help me ask Glenn. Let's see if we can get an answer so we know what the best advice to give is. All right, so this won the Fight Club tournament. You notice I gave you a couple of Christmas variants in Korg and Rockslide here because this deck, for those who can make it, is a Christmas present. It is a meta answer, a meta smasher. Hella decks absolutely hate getting filled with rocks. Absolutely hate it. They hate having -3 and then -10 on their side of the board. It doesn't give them enough room to bring back all the stuff they want. A lot of the meta decks are really, really heavily answered by this. Your negative decks, for example, draw a rock. They got an 0-1 rock. That's not exactly an 0-5 Iron Man, right? Okay, so turn 1, Kitty or Korg or Hood, especially Hood is a prioritized if I don't have a 2, because then I can go other 1-drop and Demon on turn 2, which is pretty nice. Kitty is a priority if I've got Angela. I like to get that Korg out early, though, if all else is equal. More chance to draw that rock and blank a draw. Turn 2, Angela is better than 2 1s as a general rule, but occasionally I will bounce Hood or Korg here. Like if you bounce Hood or Korg, that's fine. I like a thing I like to do. I played this immediately, obviously. It's a bounce deck, right? Is if you go like Korg or Hood here and you have Hope in hand, you can beast it and then you can go Hope into Kitty and then you can get out your Darkhawk nice and early, and that just feels ridiculous. Okay, turn 3, Hope or Rock Slide. I hate waiting on Rock Slide, but sometimes it's necessary. Turn 4, Rock Slide into 1 on Hope. Sentry on Hope if you have Annihilus, or 1's End. You can just bounce. You can play ones, and that bounce is usually where I would use my Falcon, because that lets me play some ones on Hope and then bounce them back. Turn 5, Annihilus if you drop Sentry or Hood, or you can play Darkhawk. And turn 6 is Red Hulk, or a 5+ Demon and Kitty, or you can play Red Hulk and then a couple Demons, which is just a silly, powerful end of the game. This is a tier 1 deck. Straight up, this is phenomenal. You should play this deck if you can. Welcome back to the meta Darkhawk. Gnome, take this to ladder and climb your ass back up into the top of the infinite leaderboard. He's sitting around rank 80 now, I believe. This is a real deck. This is sick, and it's got a really good matchup into basically everything right now. All right, last chance review time for U.S. Agent. This card is not a must-have. It is good, not great. It is borderline very good. It will occasionally be meta. I think that it's not likely to be meta for a while. It's also not data mined and spotlight caches for at least the next 3 or 4 months. So if you want to get it for that reason, I understand. If you don't have Jeff, I think you should have gotten this and Jeff already. But if you already have Jeff, I think this is probably a skip, but it's a light skip. This isn't going to be as good as Cannonball, but it's significantly better than the other lower tier cards we've said to skip. This is a good Marvel Snap card that will constantly have homes. FAK Crazy just put it in a Loki deck that we're going to talk about in the next day or so. It's got homes. It's got good homes. Therefore, it is a good card. It's just not a great one. If you expect the meta to be Tribunal, it is amazing against those Iron Man Tribunal decks. But outside of those, it's just kind of fine. All right, our last deck of the day is Zun's Sandman. Sandman's more in the meta now as a 5/7 than he ever was as a 5/4. So it's hard for me to not call this a buff. This deck, I mean, loses to Hela. So run if you see it, you're seeing a lot of Hela. But it can beat basically anything else. What it does, obviously, is it wins that Storm lane, right? Or it just goes really tall with good power stuff, limits your play with Sandman, and then says Doom wins or Red Hulk wins. And then anywhere that you messed up, you've got them as Marvel, Captain Marvel shenanigans to get that extra power. God, this deck misses Zabu. You can find Zuns on Twitter at the following name, Zuns0122. There's 3 Z's in Zuns. This is the 15-year-old player who was formerly #1 on the Infinite Leaderboard. Jeff can be Lizard here. That's worse, but not terrible. I also don't hate Jeff being something like Rocket Raccoon or Star-Lord, largely because, Rocket or Star-Lord, right? Largely because, Storm, right? Nebula is really good, but can be Iceman or Echo, again, without missing an insane amount. Gladiator to Polaris, that's the biggest change that would really hurt, and I think Red Hulk is just required in all of these decks right now. He gives you the thing to do that wins the game. So, this is, again, like all 3 of these decks today, man. Like, if you're, like, play them if you can, and if you're not winning with them, then, like, we gotta, like, talk about retreating better. Because these are really strong cube rate, strong win rate decks. Turn 1, you pass. Wait, what? Oh, I didn't update that. We're gonna do this on the spot. My bad. Sorry, I just finished the How Can She Snap podcast. So turn 1, you would really like to Nebula. You are fine playing Nightcrawler. Turn 2, Medusa mid if humanly possible. You are again also fine playing Jeff or Nebula here. Turn 3 is meant to be Storm on Medusa or on Nebula if possible. You can feel free to play Wave at this point to get a Doom out specifically. Red Hulk only ever comes out at this point if you're sure your opponent doesn't have Shang. And it's really hard to be sure of that unless they're playing an ongoing deck. You are fine playing Gladiator on this turn. You are trying to stack power. That would be like on the Medusa lane. You want a lane that they can't really compete with. Ms. Marvel is fine next, or Captain Marvel, depending on how much you played. If you played a bunch of small things, you want Ms. Marvel, and if you're playing the Medusa Gladiator, you would prefer Captain Marvel. At that point, you're aiming for Sandman. If you play Sandman, you are then trying to go Red Hulk or Doom, if you didn't play Doom already. And that's the play patterns for this deck. It's really straightforward. All right, that's today's video. Certain tiers of support on our Patreon not only give you access to great tournaments like the one we just talked about today, but also come with on-air thanks. So I'd like to thank Abigail Giesland, Mandatory Burnout, Cables, David G. Wingfield, Direwolf, LAB, Fothor Newman, Good Dog Gamer, Inc., Jane Every, J.D. McDonald-Linho, Kertix Lee, Koirei, KCH, The Goat Seeker, Denman Falcon, Doku, Philip Rakovich, Haplo, Kenny Loggins, Rob Silverman, Juan Diego Lebed, The Bizza, X-Force V, Skippy G, Tommy Nyquist, Black Dahlia, The Great Kazoo, Jessica Gamble, Ryan Wood, Kevin Cihoda, Models, Luis Flores, Matt H., Mikey Hijinks, No Flex, Ocularis, Craig Sterry, Pretty Chill, Seamus, Spike Jones, Two Ties, the Pirate King Tucker, the Homie Min, and of course Gunny T. The T is sign up for that free giant tournament. You never know. You're going to play some of the best players. You might win some money. See you tomorrow. These 3 decks are completely freaking sick. Don't sleep on them. Play these 3 decks. Links to them are in the description. Join the tournament. Check out the Patreon. All this stuff. It's all love. See you tomorrow for Red Guardian. Peace.